All right, I might just start talking through sort of some of the overview of how the meeting will work from a Zoom perspective. Welcome to everyone who's joining us. Thank you so much for coming today. So my name is Jess, and I've been the person who's been emailing you a bit with details about this workshop, and I'm going to be sort of facilitating some of the question and answer pieces of the workshop today. So a quick overview of how that's going to work. So this workshop is being recorded just so that we can keep track of feedback and discussions and improve the way that we host these workshops in the future. You'll notice that your microphone is muted, but we do encourage you to keep your video on so that we can see you and know who you are and sort of build some community around that. And then we ask you to please use the chat function to submit your questions if you have questions about the content of the presentation, if you're experiencing any tech issues, and one of us will help to address that question. So in the next slide at the bottom of your screen, in case you aren't sure how this works, you'll see these icons here. You can mute yourself by clicking this mute icon in the bottom left. When you'd like to speak, you can unmute yourself. For most of the presentation, we will ask you to keep yourself muted, but we'll have 2 breakout sessions where we will like to hear from you. So please do unmute yourself to speak at those times. And then the next slide. So this is just a brief overview of our agenda for the day. I'm almost done with this intro here, Zoom logistics and all of that. And then Camille is going to speak briefly about programs from the San Mateo County Office of Sustainability. That's the entity that sort of puts on a lot of workshops of this nature. Next, Ivana is going to speak to climate impacts that we're seeing in San Mateo County. And then Nilu is going to talk through the WeRenew platform. So with that, I'll hand it over to Camille to cover some information about the Office of Sustainability.
Great, thank you, Jess, and welcome everyone. We're excited to see all these new faces in this workshop and some familiar faces from past sustainability programming. So as Jess mentioned, my name is Camille. I'm the volunteer coordinator for Sustainability Academy, as well as a sustainability specialist within our office. Our office is within San Mateo County, and our mission is right here. It's building a sustainable community that fulfills the needs of the present and the future. So in general, our office has quite a few different programs that all are geared towards building more sustainability within our county. And I'm just going to briefly go over each one of these programs and what makes them unique and special. If you're interested in any of these programs, you can find more information online on our website, which is smcsustainability.org. One of our programs is the Home for All, which is a program that supports the establishment of diversity of housing options in San Mateo County. Our active transportation program is geared towards getting people out of cars and on the road in a new way. And you can actually contribute to our updating of the active transportation plan online right now through an interactive PDF that just released yesterday. It's really beautiful. I highly recommend you check it out. We have a program called Climate Ready San Mateo County, and that is keeping everyone in mind when planning for climate change impacts in San Mateo County. And you can contribute to our Climate Ready San Mateo County plan online, which is also getting updated. Also a beautiful document that is worth checking out. Another program is our Green Business program, and that provides support to small and medium-sized businesses in San Mateo County to aid in green business certification, as well as providing marketing materials for those businesses. Our Bay Area Regional Energy Network, sorry, we have the nickname for BayRen here, and I kept like trying to get my brain to not say that, but BayRen is geared towards making sure that you can save money, energy, and the planet, all with these free tools and kits that they provide for small changes that you can make at home that might help you get towards your WeRenew goals that Nilu will explain later. We also offer a program called Peninsula Clean Energy, and that's an alternative to PG&E that is geared towards reducing greenhouse gas emissions in San Mateo County as a team. And then finally, we have our waste reduction team that is involved in a lot of different things. There's a schools program that's geared towards providing support to San Mateo County schools, kindergarten through 12th grade, to teach proper sorting, reducing waste, and setting up worm bins at school. There are a community garden program, which is looking for local partners to bring composting into neighborhoods of San Mateo County. Our 4Rs grants, everyone is eligible to apply for grant money within this program, as long as your project has something to do with reducing waste, reusing or recycling, or a rock compost project. And then also our first bullet point within that section is our sustainability hotline that is open and ready to answer your questions about all things sustainability in San Mateo County. So that's just a brief overview of our programs, but let's get into my favorite program, which is Sustainability Academy. The goals of Sustainability Academy are to provide free education to raise awareness about complex socio-environmental issues, empower residents to take agency in their lives, and build community leadership through experiential education. This workshop is through Sustainability Academy, and I think hits all three of these goals really well here. In the past, we've offered in-person classes. We're switching these to a more virtual platform to be accessible still to everyone. We've offered hot pile composting, vermicomposting, non-toxic cleaning workshops, as well as going solar and panel installations, climate champion series, edible home gardening support community, mending, fix-it clinics. We've offered in-person field trips in the past. We're looking on reformatting that so that way there are some COVID compliant programs and field trips for us to participate in with you all in the future. We also have offered a program with Planting Justice at the Maple Street Jail, and we're continuing to have these workshops offered in a virtual platform in the future. And finally, we have our Master Composter courses. This involved backyard vermicomposting, soil biodiversity, solid waste reduction practices, active practice in class and at home. And then at the end, each student receives a free hot pile bin or worm composting bin. And our fall 2020 classes are being restructured for COVID. So stay tuned, check out our website to see what that starts looking like for our fall 2020 courses. We also have offered a Master in Local Sustainability course. This is a 9-week course that covers topics such as climate change, environmental justice, energy, water systems and watersheds, waste reduction, food systems, and farming in San Mateo County, and transportation. This course is offered again in spring of 2021. And if you sign up for our newsletters, you won't even have to remember that. You'll be able to get updated when we announce that application once again in the spring. Another part of our Sustainability Academy program are our socials, and these are geared towards community engagement and building a community working together to be supporting each other in these projects. And we're kind of shifting this to a virtual platform now, obviously, with workshops like this that can provide opportunity for social events in the future. All of these programs would not be possible without the Academy team. Starting at the top left corner, that's Ivana Andrade, who's on this call right now. I'm there in the middle. And then to the right of me is Jesus Jimenez. There is Todd Sutton down below Ivana. And oh my goodness, my brain is like in crisis mode right now. I'm knowing that I'm performing in front of everyone right now. But all of these people are able to provide workshop support and make sure that our programs go over well and are all adapting to shifting to a virtual platform here for us. Great. If you have questions about anything I've mentioned, please feel free to visit our website at smcsustainability.org. If you have more direct questions that you'd like to get answers to, you can email sustainability@smcgov.org or call our sustainability hotline at this number here. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Ivana to give us a little bit more background information about the climate impacts we're seeing in San Mateo County right now.
Thanks, Camille. Can you all hear me? Yes, I see a thumbs up. Awesome. Jess, my video has not been working great, so if I cut out, I'll just continue on my phone and you can just continue advancing the slides. So next slide, please. Well, good morning, everybody, and thanks for being here this morning. I hope everybody's enjoying the beautiful fall weather and the improvement in air quality outside. As Jess mentioned, I work in the Office of Sustainability, and Jess and Camille and I lead this program called the Sustainability Academy, and we recently met Nilu through a Master in Local Sustainability class. And so I'm really excited to kind of set a little bit more context around climate change and what we can do together, individually and collectively, to reduce our emissions and impacts, and to just raise collective awareness about climate change and what we can do to reduce our emissions. So, and our contributions to climate change. So I'm just going to give a bit of background right now. It's good timing to be talking about this. Maybe one could argue that it's always good timing to be talking about this. But I'm working on a project at the county. It's a climate action plan. And so I'm going to give a tiny bit of background about climate change, even though many of you already probably know better than I do about technical issues about climate change, and then a bit about the project and lay out some opportunities for you to get involved with the climate action plan, or just so that you know about it. So why should we care about climate change? There's many reasons to care about climate change. Next slide. So there's a program in our office called Climate Ready, and it's spent quite some time developing analysis on what climate change means for San Mateo County. And of course, we have a lot of research coming out of the state about this as well, about how California will be affected by climate change. But we're developing more granular data on how climate change will affect San Mateo County. So many of us might already be aware that sea level rise is already an issue and will be an even greater issue in the years and decades to come. Increased wildfire risk, I've done a couple of these presentations since the fires broke out in San Mateo County, and this is a really sensitive one and is no longer hypothetical. For a long time, we're able to talk about climate change as if it was a hypothetical thing that's going to happen sometime down the road. It is so not the case anymore. We can't talk about it as a hypothetical anymore. We're going to start seeing hotter temperatures. Just recently, it was almost 100 degrees. So we're seeing that and feeling that and having to deal with that. More intense storms and variable precipitation. And so we'll be at the mercy of changing precipitation patterns regionally and really across the West. So next slide, please. So how does this, we don't necessarily have to connect climate change to everything, even though one probably could. But we do want to take a minute and acknowledge the public health crisis that continues to unfold. We know that poor air quality and poor environmental quality has a direct effect on people's health. And so the two topics of COVID and climate change might seem adjacent or unrelated. But really, when we prepare for and invest in climate change and climate change solutions and reduce our emissions, this offers opportunities for us to improve other aspects of our daily lives that can improve individual and collective health. So on that note, go ahead to the next slide. Another reason we care about climate change and reducing emissions is because this process, this policy development process, and changing our individual and collective behaviors can help create a better future and more healthy living environment for all residents. So this is a screenshot from the Cal EnviroScreen tool. It's a general pollution burden map of San Mateo County. And so we don't have time to get into the nitty gritty on this, but it's by census tract. So pollution burden is calculated by combining many factors like hazardous waste, processing, groundwater pollution, traffic levels. So the main point here is that the effects of current emissions are not borne equally in the county. And this plan, this climate action plan that I'm about to tell you about, presents an opportunity to attend to that issue. And I think some of the actions and work that folks at WeRenew and Nilu is going to be talking about are also ways for us to start to and continue to attend to this issue of unequal sort of distribution of poor environmental quality. Next slide, please. Our emissions are contributing to climate change. What is an emission? Next slide, please. So most things that we do, especially if it involves getting in a gas-powered vehicle, turning on the lights, what have you, even eating, you know, where the food comes from, how it gets shipped around. These are all things that contribute to what we call greenhouse gas emissions. So you can see on the right, county emissions are mostly comprised of transportation, single occupancy vehicles. Then next is building energy. A lot of folks use natural gas, and some folks on the coast use propane. Over time, our emissions have gone down. If we were to see a little bit past, I think this goes to 2015, we would continue to see a decline, mainly because of the launch of Peninsula Clean Energy. So we are making progress, but we have so much work to do. It's a little bit mind-boggling when you actually look at how much progress we need to make. But there's opportunities for us to work together and to start making dents in the incredible progress that we need to make. So the climate action plan that I'm working on in collaboration with many community partners is focusing on all of these things: buildings and energy, transportation, carbon sequestration, waste diversion. And actually, you know, a lot of these things are things that the WeRenew platform touches on directly. So this is going to be kind of a nice segue to thinking about sort of what government is doing and how government is trying to change behavior, incentivize different things to create this better future. And then the end of this, after I'm finished talking in a few minutes here, we're going to be talking more specifically about what folks can do starting now and how we can support each other to do things basically on the slide, related to focus areas on the slide. Next slide. So what's the progress that we need to make? Like how much of our emissions do we need to reduce? This is just a hypothetical or a graphic. We don't actually have a power plant in this county like this. But this is just a visual to try and visualize the progress we need to make. By 2030, the goals in the plan are to reduce by 50% our greenhouse gas emissions below 1990 levels. 2045, we want to reach carbon neutrality. And carbon neutrality is essentially whatever emissions we do release into the atmosphere, we're sequestering them or capturing them into the soil. So planting trees, investing in compost application. There are a number of ways to do that, but those are a few. Next slide. I'll wrap up here in a couple minutes. So achievements to date. Camille mentioned Peninsula Clean Energy. This is a big deal. If you pay your electricity bill at home, check your bill and see if you're on Peninsula Clean Energy. You should have automatically been opted in. And you can also opt up to 100% renewable energy. So check into that. If you're not already opted up, see about doing that. As I think I forgot to mention, we're not starting from zero. We've got quite a bit of work under our belt. San Mateo County just adopted a natural gas ban on all new buildings, and that sends a message that the direction that we're headed. We have energy efficiency programs. We've been supporting alternative fuel vehicles for quite some time. Next slide. So we're building on this and taking what we've learned and continuing. So some of the priority solutions featured in the CAP, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because this is where Nilu and WeRenew is going to shine better. But we have opportunities to invest in building local green jobs, improving energy efficiency and reducing people's energy bills at home, facilitating biking, walking, and public transit, improving indoor air quality. Next slide. Diverting food away from well, food and organics really away from the landfill, other materials too. And as I mentioned, sequestering carbon and supporting local agriculture. So there's lots of opportunity here. And the last thing I want to talk about, next slide, please, is more specifically the Climate Action Plan. Some of you may have been to a workshop in the past. We have a whole month of Climate Action Plan workshops lined up with partners, including Senior Coastsiders, Half Moon Bay, Sustainable Pescadero. And if you want to get our latest update, which I have a kind of a screenshot on the right, just send me an email. My email is in the next slide here, but we have a whole lineup of coastside focused workshops. And you'll have another opportunity to weigh in later in the winter once the plan is finished. So that's my spiel. Next slide. I'll drop my email into the chat too here in a second. So I hope that that makes sense. Climate change and policy on climate change can be wonky and confusing. The point is that there's lots of things we can do. There's lots of work to do. And with that, I'll pass it off to Nilu and WeRenew.
Thank you, Camille. Thank you, Ivana, for setting this up. I mean, I think huge thanks, even just having that workshop that we had over summer and encouraging me to sort of come back and talk to a larger community about this program. So I'm really excited to be here. Let me just get my screen share going. All right, and I'm gonna hit present. Yes. Helped have the right place where I start. So again, thank you for the opportunity to being here. Thank you to everyone for being here on Saturday morning indoors on a Zoom session instead of being outdoors when our air quality is good right now. But I really hope that this is time well spent, well invested in ensuring that we continue to have a really good outside space. So just as a quick setup, on one, as I'm talking through things, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. If they're specific to WeRenew, we'll try to answer them. Some in line, we'll flag them for just open discussion. But it's going to take all of us to come together to solve things, and it's going to be questions and feedback that's going to make everything better. So please keep that coming. Just as a lay of the land for the workshop going from here, I'm just going to start off with my journey, what brought me here, why am I talking to you? We're going to quickly go into a breakout room, but there's an opportunity to learn about you, what brings you here. Then I'm going to step into doing an overview of WeRenew, the platform, and a demo of the platform. And then the single most important part is going to be taking action, just signing up and sort of have a challenge up for all of us. So then we'll sign up, take action. And then the second breakout is sharing takeaways, feedback, ongoing engagement, and wrapping up. So that's sort of the general lay. And with that, sort of moving to my journey, right? And what brings me here today and to be hosting this workshop. So, I'm a software engineer by trade, but I'm a resource conservation enthusiast by heart. And so that tells you that I walked into computer science accidentally. I loved it. Loved the thrill of problem solving, that thrill of building things and seeing that instant product come out, and the thrill of my mom and my friends using these apps and millions of users, and it just felt exciting. Then I would keep asking myself, right, is this what I want to keep doing? And the answer was no. And I want to do things that have more direct social impact or more basic things. And this is one vision that will keep coming back to you, right, over time. And it was a scene of myself on my way to college. So I grew up in Bombay in India, and I would take the local train to go to college. Sitting in the train, with a backpack on my shoulder, hanging out and watching the scene outside. And the scene outside was just very different than what I was doing, right? Kids barely clothed, hanging out, idling, begging, parents just trying to make basic ends meet, barely a shelter over their heads. And here I am, headed to college, getting my education, and it just shocked me. The disparity was just really, really large, right? And what am I going to do to change that disparity, right? And so that question always stuck, right? And so it was sort of like moving forward and fast forwarding. But 2 years ago, things sort of came to a head. I hit a breaking point with the corporate world, just high stress, long hours, and this constant question of like, is this what I want to keep doing? And that's when I said, no, I'm going to stop. So I stopped. I sort of said goodbye to corporate land. And I said, I'm going to figure out what is it that I want to spend my time on. Right? And this passion of resource conservation sort of resurfaced as one of the top things that I wanted to do something about. And I was at a conference called Behavior, Energy, Climate Change. And at that conference is where I came across the WeRenew platform. And it was this part about community action and individuals doing something collectively together about behavior change. It just appealed to me as a way to bring people together. And then over the summer, I was part of the Mills workshop. Awesome. If you haven't done it, like very eye-opening, highly recommended. But seeing the number of other people in that workshop with the energy, with that passion and the creativity of wanting to do something was energizing. I'm like, okay, we can take this from me to many and many to many, right? And this is how it's going to grow, and sort of just getting that sense of we can start building a grassroots level action. So that's sort of what brings me here today, and my journey. And of course, this is a journey, so it's going to continue on. And then with that, I just wanted to sort of get into a breakout room and have an opportunity for all of us to share, introduce yourself, your name, where in the county you live, what brings you here today, any sustainability-related actions you've already taken, what ideas you have around climate change, fighting climate change. Just an opportunity to share and get to know each other. So Jess is going to help us put us into breakout rooms. Thank you, Jess.
Yeah, you should be automatically directed in there. So we'll see you back here in a little over 10 minutes.
Thank you. So that was awesome. Okay, everyone's back. We had a really fun conversation. It was a small group, but just so much knowledge shared, things learned on. I think this is it. Like, this is the power of community, right? We all collectively bring ideas, excitements together, and together is what we can make things happen, right? And so I think moving on to the second bit, welcome back. But I wanted to sort of harness that collective energy. I'm going to have you do one activity. There's a link which Patrick's going to post into the chat. When you click on that link, so this is the idea is to do a collaborative action word cloud, right? And what that means is you have a cue. The cue is share a sustainability related action that either you've done or you plan to take, right? And just a one word, type it in, hit enter, and you can come up with multiple ones. And then we'll just see this together, what is coming up together, just to get that collective view and put into perspective. What's going to happen is you are going to see a screen to presentation begin. You will have a screen that will ask you to enter your name, and you can skip that part. And then you can, it'll ask you to enter accept notifications, and you can say not now. So there's two screens you just walk through, and then the next thing you do is enter a word. So if folks can start and click on the link, let me know if you're having issues getting to the screen. And this is the very first time trying this activity, so hoping we get that awesome visual effect that we're looking to get in here. So as people type in their responses, a word cloud of sorts will start to build. Are people able to get to the screen? Aha, it's working at least. And the more shared a thing is, the bigger it gets in terms of the font. It's just, I think for all the conversations that we have, I'm just expecting this to have a lot of both shared and unique ideas across the table. So gardening, I've been getting into that. Electric. hang dry clothes. I've been doing that as much as it takes extra time for me to do it. I'm like, it's going to make my clothes last longer and not let me use my gas dryer. A lot of biking. I think that's the one thing with COVID and all the staying home is a lot of biking has been made to happen. And just getting off my car. Farmers market for the win. Love it, which is happening right now this week. That's just awesome. I don't know how it feels great to just see the shared excitement and the shared set of ideas. And we'll have this available. And I think I'd love to just take maybe even this can be one of our icons later for our group that we're going to start. So super. You can keep that going, and I'm going to get onto the next portion of our workshop. Thank you for participating and for making the workshop happen. So the next portion is largely talking about WeRenew, the platform, and doing a demo of the platform. And this statistic, right, it's the thing that drew me in the first time I heard about it. It's a thing that on a daily basis, when I think about what I want to work on, what keeps me motivated, it's what's motivating me to talk to you all today. That 40% of our greenhouse gas emissions in the US come from 5 basic household activities, right? That's 5 activities that you and I do every day, that we as members of households have influence over, have control over. And the 5 are, right, transportation, heating, electricity, food, and waste. And things that we have control over. And the beauty is there's solutions across all of these, right? And these solutions are affordable, they're available, they're accessible more than before. In fact, these solutions have a secondary benefit of improving the air around us, improving our health situation. They save us money. Like in an average household that takes these actions, they save about $1,000 to $3,000 a year, right? And people in San Mateo County, people are concerned. They want to do something. They just need to sort of have a plan and, okay, here's something that you can do and here's something you can keep doing. And that's on the platform WeRenew is based on that, right? One, recognize that every household is unique, right? We all have a different pattern. We have different sort of needs and how we go about doing things, and you've got to recognize that. And then based on that, the solutions that they can take are going to be different and going to be, but there's each what is more impactful for one may be different for another. And they can take action. You need to know what your collective set of actions are. And I think the most important thing is you got to work as a team. Right? I think I've done this, like we've gotten into fitness challenges, things, and if you're just by yourself, it lasts for a few days and then it goes off. But when you have a team holding you accountable, being a part of a community that's encouraging you, that's what keeps it going. So that I'm going to sort of step into the demo. As you have questions, please put that coming into the chat, and then we will get to them. Right. So first up, the site is available at WeRenew.net. It is available nationwide, so anyone in the country can log on and create an account for free. When you're here, so I think one thing I want to point out is the site is available in English and Spanish. And so if folks that would find that more accessible, please share that. We want to make sure it's available in the language that best works for you. You pick your state and your city, and it's very regional, right? I mean, like at the end of the day, things are very specific to this region. Resources that are in my area and what works for me is going to be different from the East Coast or for a different part of the country. So enter your state and city, and when you hit go, you land up on the site specific to your region. And in this case, it's San Mateo County that we're all part of. The next step is to join the challenge. And when you join the challenge, you're basically going through a create account flow, right? We've done this on various sites. You enter your email password, create an account. And once you've created your account, you land on, and you'll get a welcome message, you dismiss that, and you have 3 steps here to sort of to get you started into your WeRenew profile. The first step is completing your energy profile. The second one is finding actions. It's all about actions, right? And The third, really important, is being part of your community. So I'm just going to walk through each of them on the platform to get you familiar with navigating this site and also what each of the things go and do. So with the profile as the first bit that we want you to do, and again, it's you want to tailor the impact to your household, right? If you are not driving, you are not doing something, that action may not be as relevant to you. So it's very important to get information about your household, and each of us is going to be a different set, right? So how many people live in your household, things like how your household is set up, what kind of appliances you have in your home, it's going to be different from the next neighbor next door. Your heating and cooling, what kind of fuel you use, your utility info. And this is something I think it's also very useful here that I want to point out is you can link in your data, and PG&E has this set up, so you can just share your data, and it took me less than a minute to authorize and get my data slurped, which just meant I had very specific, my impact could be very granularly understood to my impact, right? Because it came from my monthly bills that PG&E had. And then there's transportation, which is a big part for a lot of us. And when you're filling this out, right, think about not just you as a household representative, filling this out on behalf of everyone in your household, right? So somebody may take the train, somebody drives, and somebody drives one car, somebody drives the other car. So add all of that together, right? Add in the information relevant to the transportation pieces, and then there's food and waste, right? So all of this takes about 15 minutes tops, right? To kind of get through and answer questions about your household. And once you've done that portion, with very much fanfare, you arrive at your dashboard where we show you your starting impact, right? And your starting impact is, again, now we've talked about the 5 categories, and everything continues in terms of the 5 categories. And what is your starting impact across each of them based on what you have entered? And we also have to put in perspective, how do you compare across the rest of the world? Right? What is the average greenhouse gas emissions in the US per person per year? And that's at 10 tons, right? And where are you at? Where is your county at? And in this case, this example is Napa, but in your case, it will show up as a San Mateo County average. And then the goal, our goal is to be at 2 tons per person per year, right? And that's still above China and India, but it just puts in perspective how different places where they're at and what we can be at. And so sort of what I've talked about most across the workshop is it's all about action. And once you've seen your starting impact, the next step you want to do is take action, and you will get a prompt here to go and find actions. And when you get to actions, there are 2 ways to discover this set of actions, right? You can look through the general broad categories, and we've bundled things together that make sense in a particular category, or you can do things based on your preferences of what matters to you. And I'll briefly walk through both of them. So in the action category is an example, a good category to get started is getting started. Okay, so you come to getting started, and I highly recommend looking at the Learn About solutions. When you're in this category, you get to see all the different, it just gives you a good lay of the land of the solution space. And it's just good education guide, and you're just better prepared to have an understanding of the rest of the site. In each of the actions, there will be a breakdown of like multiple steps, just to like, okay, think about this part and different parts, and you can complete each step, or you can mark them completed as you go on. Let me go on. So this, once you've done with the basic getting started action, an action that is the action categories that I like to talk about is switch to LED. So let's just use this as an example of how the action detail page works and how the points calculation works. So I know for a lot of you, this may be like, hey, I did this 10 years ago, right? Which is awesome. Make sure everybody around you is also doing this. But it just get a sense of how things work on the site. One is you get to specify be more granular about the action that you're taking, right? So how many light bulbs are you going to switch? 5? I feel like 10. Okay, so you're going to up to 10, and that changes your annual savings. It changes your resource savings. It changes your points, right? And the points are meaningful here. Every point is a pound of carbon saved, right? And that's it. As you're working through the actions, the points are associated based on that. And as you are looking through a particular action, there's an introduction, right? Okay, so light bulbs, not rocket science, but heat pump, water heaters, a bit of rocket science for me. So that it was very helpful to have an introduction that walks through and talks about the background of it, right? And breaks down into the steps that you need to do in order to take that action. And another really cool part is the resources. And this is where things get very regionally specific, right? What are some resources that can help you take this action, or that are sort of either guide you or give you some rebates or credits? And in this case, for example, the WeRenew home rebate credit. So I found out about this both through the Mills workshop that I had taken and this and the site. And I actually signed up for WeRenew, and I got my kit of LED bulbs and low flow shower head and a smart power strip. Interesting. I mean, I wasn't aware of that resource before, and it was useful to get that and to sort of get me spearheaded into starting some of those actions, right? So you can click into the resources and you get a sense for what you can take advantage of. And depending on the action, the resources will be different. Right? The next sort of way that you can navigate actions is by your preferences. What's important to you, right? You could be a person that says, well, I'm about impact, and I'm all about easy to start out with, at least. Right? So what shows up at the top? And amongst yours, like eating lower down the carbon chain. Well, okay, how much am I going to get, and what does that mean? And so you can click into that action and say, okay, if I would use 4 meals per week, okay, that's not for all myself, 4 people in the household, so 1 meal for the entire household. We cut down on red meat, then that gets me 1830 points. Right? And I now all of a sudden start tracking like, how much is that contributing in terms of pounds of carbon for the choice that I'm making. Right? So, and you can take it and you can get started on this action. And when you, and as you go through the actions, you will see this, that you can have a choice of either something is a new action because you're just going to start taking it, or you already done it. Like, and we totally want to tell us things that you've already done. It doesn't give you the points, but it gives you the level, right? So you can come in at a rock star level because you've already been doing things, right? And I know a few people from our breakout group are going to be in that thing, like, we've already taken a lot of these actions, and that's awesome. You're going to get to be the influencers and getting others to come in and motivate others to be at that level, right? So you get the option to do that, mark those things. And just as and the other, as you're navigating and you're familiar with the action, you can just hit the plus icon on the card, and you can say, hey, new action or previously completed, and you can start adding things to your action list. All right. Once you've added actions, on your dashboard, you will see the set of actions that you have signed up for, right? And where you're at, how many, because you may be marking things complete as you're going along, sort of your progress along those actions. And as you mark things complete, and it'll tell you what impact you're going to have with the actions that you signed up for. So the total number of points, the total savings, and your total, how much reduction you're going to have to your starting baseline. Right? And this is just to give you a sense on the levels that we just talked about. We have, these are all the different levels that you could be at. You could be just getting started. That's totally cool. Or you could be a solar star, right? And there will be a full spectrum of this. And as you put in things that you've done, and as you're working on things, your level gets affected, right? So take action, level up, right? That's going to be our thing going on. So so far we've talked about your profile, actions. And the third bit that's super important is community. So on the site, you can go and navigate and be a part of a team. And a team is a group of 6 to 8 households it's a closer group, right? A team as a collectively small group that comes together and has a shared purpose and is talking to each other, encouraging folks to keep moving, setting goals. and you can track your team progress and how well your team is doing. And it's just really effective to just keep making progress, like we all have seen teams can do. You get a team leaderboard sense of like how your team is doing compared to others. A little healthy competition helps us all moving. The other level of grouping that you can be part of is a community group. And a community group is larger. And in this case, it's the Scooter Club of Palo Alto that decided like, hey, our group has a shared mission. It could be a church, it could be a school, it could be your book club, right? And it's just, you have to figure out it could be anything that it's a larger group that sort of has this shared purpose and wants to bring people together and motivate them to take action. And similar concept, you get to see the overall sort of actions taken, the points earned, and the savings that you're having, right? I also wanted to point out that on the right, you add posts and you can create posts and share things of what you're working on, pat others on the back, encourage them to do things, and keep that conversation going, right? Like you want both, and you want to ask questions and resources of the people in your community to get that feedback. The last sort of level from the community is the region. And in this case, San Mateo County, you get to see the overall, how many households are participating, right? San Mateo County could set a goal of like, here's where we want to be at. What's the top community group? In this case, it's the Church of the Epiphany in San Carlos, right? Top team, my street, sorry, flying this out. I just started that a few months back. And then our overall progress that's happened, and that gives you a sense of all the communities that are in the area and how many points they have, right? And I think that just gives you both a sense of like, here are some ideas, like Rethink Waste has a team, the Sequoia High School has a team. And so these are things that can come together, and overall it's going to be a community that's going to be able to come and take action, right? And a group of people doing that. So that sort of puts, if there's any questions at this point on the presentation, I'm going to go back to the presentation. Right. And so here's my challenge, right? Or it's going to become our challenge. And that is before Earth Day 2021. So I've also gone and created a community group called San Mateo County Takes Action. Our challenge is to have at least 100 households being members of that community group. Each household taking at least 3 actions. So that's 300 actions we're talking about. And on an average, for actively participating households, we've seen that we can reduce 5,000 pounds, right, within a few months. So if, on an average, all of 100 households are at 5,000 pounds reduction, we have 500,000 pounds of carbon savings, right? And that's collective action, right? That's what we all can do together. Like my one set of actions are not going to get us there. We'll need all of us, and we'll need all of us, the group of people here, to go in and bring others. I mean, this is the best pyramid scheme you're going to be a part of, right? Trust me. Like bring in, there's just no loss in this other than loss of carbon, which, hey, but let's, get excited, get others on to come in and join the efforts, right? If you're excited about it, they'd want to come in and be a part of it. I think for the size of the county, we can beat this probably sooner than Earth Day. So that's my goal, is to kind of have this challenge set out for us. And the next step, and this is to join the San Mateo County Takes Action community, right? So here's the link, and Patrick's going to help put that into the chat. I'm going to stop talking for a minute so that everyone can click that link, join, and just create your account. And automatically you'll be part of the community group that I already set up, which is for San Mateo County Takes Action, right? And then this is the single most important huge step that you can take today, right now, in this moment. So do that. And as you're done, type in done into the chat, right? Let's get a little excitement rolling up and getting others feeling good about doing it, and the motivation to actually click on that link right now. It's creating an account. And of course, if there are questions, I'll also start looking through chat, and Jess can help ask questions. But let's give everyone a minute to create the account.
That sounds good.
Yay, I'm seeing some dones. Woohoo. Telling you, best pyramid scheme I've been a part of. And I'm going to hold all of you accountable, whoever's saying I'm doing it afterwards. So thank you. Yay, Ivana. Super. I'm getting pumped to have a group of people to work with, because I have needed the motivation. I've signed up for today. Some things, I think the easiest one was the Eco 100 to go and do, and it gave me the most points. And I was like, yay, but I need to keep going. Sure. Jess, are there any questions that we should take a pause for?
I don't think so. There were a couple, but Lisa helped to answer them in the chat. So
cool. Yay. All right. What's the general sense? Should we keep moving or give people another minute to create that account?
maybe one more minute. It looks like a lot of people are signing up. It's exciting.
Yeah. So yeah, so as we said, I almost want to like log in and see the size of my, and then soon I'm going to have the top community. We're going to beat the other community group.
I don't think Nilu is competitive, or maybe she is competitive. Seems like maybe she is.
I don't know. I'm generally not, and I'm playing games with my kids. I'm not competitive, but this one. Yeah, Darshana, go ahead and ask your question. Totally cool. Type it in.
Tom did ask, can we add Menlo Park to the list of the cities? Oh, Lisa answered. Lisa answered in writing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think Tom is single-handedly going to get. And we need Tom's stats into San Mateo County. I think he's going to come in like a solar star level.
Should we wait for Darshana's question or scoot into the breakout group piece?
Yeah, we can do. Yeah, I think in the breakout group as well, you can they can address that. So that's fine. All right. So the next section is breakout room 2, right? So this should be, the focus here is hear your thoughts, any feedback that you have, takeaways that you have, because like literally I feel like we've zoomed through this. There's a lot here that we need to unpack and work as a community. And so ideas of it's going to come from you, both on how to engage other people, how to engage larger groups, how we're going to reach our goals. You all just signed up for, by the way, that challenge, right? So we need to be able to meet and beat that challenge, because it's only helping all of us here. And so that would be exciting. It's just to hear feedback, other ideas on how to get more people involved, engaged, and us as a group as well, right? So our thought is in a few weeks from now, we'll have our first follow-up meeting where there'll be homework given ahead of time to get everyone set up and come in and have the conversation to keep us moving. So with that, Jess, you want to throw us in another breakout room?
Yep, I'll open them up right now.
Yay, super. Thank you, everyone, for participating in the conversation. Again, I think there were a lot of ideas in terms of how we can bring more people in, folks trying to think about how to bring it to other parts of their hometown or other communities or their workplaces that they're part of. So I'm super excited to build on this. As I promised, there's homework. So one, we're going to meet again. In 2 to 3 weeks, we'll have another Zoom meeting. Everybody's registered for this workshop will get an invite to the next one. The homework is complete your energy profile, right? And if you haven't already created your account, of course, create your account, complete your energy profile, look through the actions, explore, see what you see, think about what appeals, and sign up for at least one action, right? And then it'll just make it so much more powerful to have that conversation and to help each other through and energize it, right? And to get towards our goal. And then with that, here's my contact info. That's my email, that's my phone number. Any questions, any ideas, any feedback.
We can't see your screen, Nilu.
Oh no, brilliant. Sorry, how did that happen? Because I never hit share screen. Okay.
There we go.
There we go, and then let's present that. If you're a visual person, this is your homework again on the screen. So 3 things: complete your profile, actions, sign up for one. And then that's my contact. So yeah, we'll share the slides as well, and we'll send out a feedback survey to just get input and ideas that you may have. One thing that I didn't talk about explicitly when you were going through the actions on the site is there are community actions, right? Like there's both, as Ivana was talking about, there's various programs in the county that you can go in and have a say. And that's really important, to just be aware of what's happening and having that say, or bringing in other people into the fold. And there's actions focused for youth. So if you know people who are youth in high school who are excited and want to take action, we can bring them in and have specific teams set up for that. So thank you, everyone, for making it out on this morning. And I am excited to keep continuing the conversation, right? This is just the beginning. So thank you.
Me too. Thank you, Nilu.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.